They're coming fast behind him. Rogers has got a try, I think.
And I cut this finger off when I was 4 years old, having an argument with my brother. The things you do.
Son of the late Steve Rogers, a legendary figure in rugby league, Matt Rogers is a celebrated Australian dual-code rugby international, renowned for his exceptional achievements in both rugby league and rugby union, coupled with his contributions off the field, solidify his status as one of Australia's most versatile and respected sports figures.
But if I hear your name mentioned and Queensland in the press between now and in 2 weeks' time, I'm not going to pick you. And I thought, shit.
Matty Rogers, welcome to the Teabaggers podcast. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, pleasure. Stoked to be here. I love what you guys do. I bumped you in Adelaide a couple of years ago and saw you having a great time. So when you asked me to come, I'm thinking there'll be more good times.
Yeah, well, this is one we've been looking forward to. We knew you were that sort of bloke. So who knows where the next hour is going to end up. But,
we could get messy as time goes on. Let's
roll with the punches. So, mate, we're going to start off with the golf questions. What was the moment you really fell in love with golf? And don't tell me it was the 19th hole.
No, it wasn't the 19th hole. Actually, I was too young for that, but I do love the 19th hole now. It is my favourite hole of the day. But my dad loved his golf. He was never a great golfer. Like, he played off sort of 11, 12. But my dad, being a professional rugby league player back in the day, and he was like the Australian captain, New South Wales captain, and and they worked, like back in the day when it wasn't professional. So like, saw very little of my dad, like working and playing. He'd go on tours and stuff, but he loved his golf, and I got into golf just so I could hang out with my old man. And I remember being a kid and being like 5 years old and going and just laying on Dad's golf bag, and he'd pull me around the course, and he had a couple of cut down clubs for me, and I'd hit some balls. And mate, I absolutely loved it. It was it was phenomenal just getting that time with him. And then I got right into it in my teenage years, and then at about 15 years old, I was going pretty well in footy. And one of Dad's best mates was Jack Newton. Yep. So Dad and Jack were very close. Jack's a big rugby league man. His son Clint now runs the Rugby League Players Association. And it was funny because I wanted to be a golfer and Clint wanted to be a footy player. Jack was always like, mate, I got a son who can hit it out of the screws and he wants to play footy, and your young bloke plays the house down and wants to be a golfer. And I remember my old man saying, he goes, for every golfer making $1 million, there's 1,000 of them living out of the boot of their car. Yeah. He said, I think you'll make more money playing footy, and I can't help you with golf. And Jack was down in the northern in the Hunter Valley, so or Newcastle area. So didn't get much time with him because we used to live just around the corner from here, actually, like a couple of canals over. Yep. But mate, it was a love of mine for sure. At 15 years old, I just wanted to be a golfer, and I told that story to Roger Davis about 18 months ago, 2 years ago. I said, mate, I wanted to be a pro golfer, and we played, and I played pretty well that day. And Roger's like, do you still want to do it? What? I said, what? And he goes, be a pro golfer. And I'm like, yeah, of course. But I mean, he goes, no. He goes, listen, he goes, I'm the head of the PGA. And he said, how about we, he goes, you're good enough. He goes, how about we put you on the Masters Tour when you turn 50 and we'll give you a year exemption. He goes, it'll be great for us because you'll help us with sponsorship. Yep. He said, but, you got to make enough money to keep your card, otherwise you lose it. And then you got to qualify. I said, all right, well, it's worth a shot. Let's give it a go. So
how'd you go?
Well, I'm not 50 yet. I got
you still got a bit of time.
So you're in training to go. So I haven't been grinding at all. I've been playing like crap, actually. I haven't been playing. I've been too busy. Footy season, it sort of drags me from pillar to post sort of thing. So, but I'm looking forward to getting out and do a few sort of events next year and see how it goes.
So you're on board? You're going to be on the seniors
tour?
tour?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Rog rang me at the start of this. He goes, "You still good?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." He goes, "You got to practice." I'm like, "Yeah, I get it."
Practice?
But, no, I play with some good golfers, and they're always there giving me tips and stuff. But being a team athlete, it's hard. Like, I don't want to go on to a driving range and grind for 2 hours on my own. It's just not in my makeup. So. Try to sort of get out there and do a little bit, but more often than not, if I'm not down there with a mate, I'll just stay at home. I will watch the golf on TV and hopefully osmosis works.
Yeah, we'll get you going. No, very good.
You remember your first ever proper round of golf?
Well, I remember like at about the age of 8 or 9, we got like a composite set that we got. My brother and I, he's a couple of years old, and we got from my dad. We got like a wedge, a 7-iron, a 3-wood, or like a 5-iron, a 3-wood, and a putter. And the deal was, if you get a par, every time you get a par, we'll add a new club to your bag.
Yeah.
So, it took about a year or so and I had a full set. But, sort of fell in love with it from then on. I just love the challenge of it, the competition of it. And I just love the fact that it's sort of universal. You can play with anybody, and handicaps just make it fair.
Yep.
If you're playing with people with a real handicap.
How is the handicap? Where are we sitting at the moment?
I'm on a little bit over scratch, so off 0.3, I think.
Oh, so you're hitting them good.
So,
Yeah.
So depending on what T markers we're playing up, it's either +1 or maybe 1. But I enjoy it. Makes it hard when you're not playing a lot. But still love it. Love getting out there, and I just sort of go out to enjoy it now. I sort of try to go out and I don't even think about the scorecard or handicaps.
Yeah.
I used to get so tied up in it and I'd get frustrated.
Yeah.
Come home with the shits, and the missus is like, you've been away with your mates for 4 hours. Don't come home with the shits.
Yeah.
I'm like, good point. So now I'm just like, hit it, find it, hit it again, and have some fun with the boys. It's good.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Awesome, mate. So what's been harder? Has it been, nailing those chip shots or the tribal council on Survivor?
Well, I know the only person fucking things up with the chip shots me. In tribal counts, you've got people with knives.
Ready
They're
to
coming for
stab
you,
you
stab you in the back. So, tribal counts is a lot harder. They're tough.
What's your go-to? Where are you best? Is it off the tee, round the greens with a putter?
Putt well, and I drive well. It's got to get a bit better with the irons, but drive the ball well, putt well.
Yep.
It can generally sort of around the greens. I'm pretty handy. Like I might only have sort of 6 birdie putts in a round, but I can get up and down and save par. And it's not much fun playing like that because you feel like you're chasing all day. But unless I'm flushing it with the irons, which has been rare lately. But it's generally my off the tee and around and on the greens.
Do you because you're obviously, you can tell the wife you're prepping for the Champions Tour now, so you need to play a lot of golf. But do you have a limit of like how many rounds a week is too many to be able to convince the wife that it's all for work purposes?
Oh, mate, my wife is amazing in that regard. Like I can literally play every day.
Nice.
She does breakfast radio and she doesn't get home till midday, and my work day starts at 3 in the afternoon.
Right. Yep.
So my radio show is in the evening from 6 till 8. So we go in and do a pre-record, and then we do interviews, and then we do our live show. But so my day, I obviously have other things to do, but I can always sort of prioritise golf if I'm in town. So I like to get out to the Glades 2 or 3 times a week at worst.
Yep.
Have a few, but our Fridays at the Glades of the day, like it's with all the boys, and
Tell us about that Friday rounds. What goes on a Friday round with Matty Rogers?
It's pretty crazy. What we did, we set up a group. There's 20 of us, and we all put in $20 a week. So
20 buy-in?
20 a week. So whether you're playing or you're not, it costs you $20 a week to be a part of the group. So we've got 400 a week to play with. So we play for 350. We bank 50. We've got a fine 10.
Yep.
So $5 a fine, maximum of 4 fines around. So generally, if there's 3 groups playing, there's a couple $100 goes in because most people are getting 4 fines because we make it hard.
What's the fines for?
3 putt, wipe a hole, throw your club.
Yep.
A lot of club throwing amongst these guys.
Yeah.
Leave it in a bunker, sort of that sort of thing.
Yep.
Descent to the leader.
Yeah.
Which is me. That I'm the judge of it, the sole and only judge.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of fun. So we have 4 majors a year. If you win a major, you get exemption into the championships at the end of the year. And in the end of the year, out of the 20, the top 12 play for a couple of grand. And we've got a big belt, championship belt.
Sounds like absolutely ripping
fantastic
group to be a part of.
It's fun. There's a lot of banter that goes on. I tell you what, about half and half of Queensland and New South Wales fans. So at this time of year, in that chat group, it's like horrific. What is being said to each other.
Yeah.
And if we get a new member and they come in and they see that, they think, are you guys actually mates? It's like, we are.
That's what I'm finding with the Queenslanders. We were coming home from the State of Origin last night. New South Wales got the win. And not that they're all Queenslanders in the car, but the banter was, if you're not having a go at your mate, are you really even mates with them?
You're not.
No,
you're not. And we got a new member in last year, actually. He's invited in by someone. We had a member leave. He went overseas. And I just had to say to him, I said, listen, mate, you cannot take offence to anything that is said in this chat group. And we're all in them, right? You're in chat groups with your mates. And But it is fun because it gets pretty wild, and every now and then I'll just stir one of the boys up. Like Greg Bird's a great mate, but he's a New South Welshman, played for New South Wales, and one of the hardest men to play the game. He was one of my teammates at the Titans when I finished my career. Very close friends. But some of the stuff we say to each other at this time of year, and I did get him a while back. He came at me really bad, like full on. And I just let it stew for a couple of hours.
Yep.
Then he came back again. I let it stew for a couple of hours, and he rang me. He goes, "Have I upset you?" No, mate, we're good.
We're good.
just fun. Just good fun with good fellas, And I think my wife, and like I said before, I can sort of play whenever. She's amazing, but she understands how important it is for me to get out there with the boys. Just men, there's so many people they miss out on it. And I know it's hard if you've got a young family and stuff like that, but that's such an important time in my week. I sort of try to prioritise it like religiously because I know being with my mates just makes me feel better. And everyone benefits. I benefit, my family benefits, all my mates benefit, and that's a good thing.
I think that the everyone paying $20 a week, whether you're playing or not, is a really good way to make sure the boys lock in that golf day, because I know it's so easy to I can't play this week, got a meeting, got this, got that, I haven't played for a month, whatever. We lose track of it hanging out with our mates. But if you're all chipping in the $20 a week and you're all of a sudden going, I'm just donating to these blokes winning $350 every week, and I'm copping shit in the chat group, I need to get out and play.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, mate, Tommy Whitaker, he's one of the coaches on the WSL. Like he coaches Griff Colapinto, I think, and a few others. I think he coaches Kanari Garashi, and mate, he's in the group, but he's always on the road. Yeah, and he literally just sent a message because our last major is next Friday of the year, and then our championships are on the 11th of July. And he goes, I'm travelling on I'm going to the US next Thursday. He goes, but geez, I love contributing to your boys' beer fund. But he won't drop out because if you drop out, you won't get back in. And for $20 a week, he's around a bit and he loves it, and he's often bringing out some of his surfing mates and stuff, which is a lot of fun for the boys.
It's basically a fee just to be part of the chat group, really.
It's a fee to get roasted.
It's called Only Chats. It's a $20 a week subscription, and you can listen in.
Yeah, beautiful.
Actually, we might have come up with something.
Yeah, there we go. We've got business ideas. I told you this is going places, this podcast.
Exactly.
So what's currently in the bag? What clubs are you playing? What's your go-to brand?
I use TaylorMade.
Yep.
The team at TaylorMade said I met them a few years back, and sort of they sort of knew what was going on with me, going on like potentially going on to the Masters Tour, and they were really happy to support me, and they've been amazing. Ty, the CEO, he's a South African. He loves his rugby. It's funny, he rang me from South Africa. He was on holiday in South Africa with a few of his mates a while back, and they're on the piers having a good time. And he rings me, and I was driving my car, but he was trying to FaceTime me. I said, I can't FaceTime you. I'm driving.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm here with all my mates. He's like, none of them think I know Matt Rogers. He's a South African, and I'm just like, who is this calling me? Where'd you get this number? He's like, well, you're an arsehole. But no, he's a great fella. And Tom Carroll, not the surfer, but he's head of sales for TaylorMade nationally, and we've become really close mates. He lives up in Brizzy. He comes down and plays a bit of golf with us, and they've taken me to some amazing places. They took me down to Cathedral for a few days.
Oh, yeah, that looks awesome.
Mate, just what a place that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I use the QI35 driver, 3-wood, 5-wood. Can't remember what my irons are, but they're the new ones.
Yeah, go-to putter?
The Spider, TaylorMade Spider.
TaylorMade Spider.
Oh, the CB's irons, the TaylorMade CB irons. They're just, mate, they are the most pure iron I've ever hit. Yeah, it's good. You don't have to hit them out of the middle, so they're perfect for me.
That's good. What's the part of your game that has stood out at, joining a pro tour at nearly 50 and been playing it all your life? What is the part of the game that has made you believe I actually can play this at a competitive level?
Well, I'm just super competitive, and I just feel like I can work it out.
Yep.
And going to some senior tours events and just sort of playing in them and just sort of seeing where I'm on the leaderboard and stuff, and not played my best, and I just know what I can do, and I haven't really been focused.
Yeah.
And I just know if I lock in. I know it's a hard game, and it's easy to say I've worked it out. Like no one's ever really worked it out, but I love those comments when you make guys, mate, I just worked it out. Next shot, shank.
Yeah, we've all had that. I've said that to you plenty of times.
But yeah, no, I just think that belief in myself and knowing, like, I've had some pretty decent low numbers, so I know I can do it. And they're not 4-day events with a cut. They're they're 1 day or 2 day events.
Yeah, so it's more about your application to the game rather than going, oh, my irons will get me out of trouble here.
Yeah, none of that.
No,
I've just,
grit the teeth, just like, bite
right.
down on the mouth guard and charge in.
That's it. And just give it a crack, you know. And look, I might fall on my head and fall on my face and it mightn't work, but you know.
Well, look at Anthony Kim, mate. He's been able to do it. Just roll in after 12 years hiatus come back and play.
Well, funny, you talk about a 12-year hiatus. Like, I retired from footy 15 years ago, and I got back into golf 5 years ago.
Yep.
So I didn't play for 10 years.
Yeah, right.
Because when I finished playing, and I've got the ultimate golf hack for you. Yep. This will blow your mind. So I didn't play for 10 years. COVID hit. And my son, he's 20, he was 29 yesterday, he rings me, goes, Dad, let's go play golf. We used to play a lot when he was a kid. He was sort of hanging out with me like I did with my dad, you know, and absolutely bombs it. Just the most beautiful swing. We got him lessons from the age of like 7 to 13, and he was a flusher. And my mate who plays off +4 is a pro. He goes, mate, he should be a pro golfer. Wanted to do the footy thing. I now wish he had gone down the golf thing, but mate, he goes, come play. I'm like, oh, mate, I haven't got any clubs. I'd given them away when I retired, because when I retired, I cut that finger off.
Yep.
So I broke the knuckle real bad, and it was sort of bent sort of inwards.
Oh, yeah.
And tucked under my hand there. And I sort of got through the season. Did it in round 3. They wanted to fix it, but I was going to have to miss 4 months of footy.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, mate, it's my last year. I'm not going to miss 4 months of footy because of a pinky. And there's no way I'm going to go and tell one of the hard men in my team. I'm out for 4 months.
Group going
around. My pinky, like, you know. So, but when I went and played that day, my grip felt unbelievable. And I'm like, what's going on here? And I'll show you. So because that's cut off, like that's my interlocking sort of finger.
Yeah.
The little nub there just sits in the webbing, like absolutely perfect. And I cut this finger off when I was 4 years old, having an argument with my brother, and the things you do, and that just tucks in that little gap there between your thumb and your forefinger. So my grip, I'll show you.
Yeah.
Like it sits in there like that.
Yeah.
See how it's just so smooth.
Yeah.
And then like that.
It's still got a little bit of movement.
So that sits on the club.
Yeah.
And prior to me coming back, having 10 years off golf, the best handicap I had prior to that was 7.
So you chopped off a couple of fingers
chopped
and dropped
off that
7
finger,
shots.
And within a year, I was playing off scratch.
You willing to do that?
Maybe. I'm not getting better.
Well, he's got to go and get the knife. He's going to have no fingers left. He's off 22.
I'm willing to try anything, to be honest.
Yeah. No, but man, honestly, that's I didn't change anything. I didn't
it makes sense.
Lessons.
It looks like
it does look neat.
It's so like, and you hear about how important your grip is.
Rory going to chop fingers off now.
No, it works. So I got excited, and when you get down, like as you start improving, you just get excited about improving more.
Yep.
And just become a nut.
Yeah.
So that was me. It was, but yeah, the old.
There you go.
The old, and when I get excited, it wiggles.
When
I eagle, it nearly drops off.
So I don't know if you possibly remember. I think it was 2023, LIV Golf Adelaide. You're commenting for SEN at the watering hole.
Yes.
And Chase Kepker hits a hole in one.
I remember it.
We're just down in front of you. After it happened, wherever the place has gone nuts, I came over and spoke to you. We have a bit of footage of interviewing you. Yeah. What do you remember about the day, other like the hole in one?
Oh, mate, it's just phenomenal. Like that was the first year, right? And they were unsure of what my role was going to be. And they went, well, maybe. I said, well, let's put me on the party hole.
Yeah.
Because if someone gets a hole in one, it'll be phenomenal.
Yep.
So, man, I had the best seat in the house. I'm sitting in the cellar door or whatever it was called, where you guys were. The food was phenomenal. The drinks were amazing. Yep. I'm working on live radio, but I'm just still indulging.
And you had prime spot, just the second tier back, right behind the hole.
Yeah. Watching it, just calling him in, a little draw here, or he's fading into holding up on the breeze, you know. And the thing was, it was so lucky because they would come to me sporadically. Obviously, I'm not calling every golfer. But when a star stood up, like they always came to me, like if it was Brooks or if, whoever, but it was Chase Kepker. It wasn't Brooks Kepker.
Did they
I think they heard Kepker and they go to Rat. You know, So they come to me and I'm like, and Chase Kepker on the key, and my producer's like, Chase Kepker. Yeah. We thought it was. I'm like, no, it's Chase Kepker's on the tee. And luckily, like he was over the ball when the producer's sort of saying, "Is it Chase or is it Brooks?"
Yep.
And I couldn't give him an answer really because I'm on
Trying to
live.
focus, yeah.
And so I've called it in and just bounce. And, mate, they still, like, I went berserk.
Yeah.
Like, Chase Kepker, holy one, Chase Kepker, the beers are absolutely flying. And anyway, they still play it on radio now. Like,
Yeah.
you know, whenever we talk golf, it's like the intro
It's a
to
bit
it.
of absolute classic
Oh,
SEN commentary,
mate.
and it was an accident. They got,
Yeah.
they got the
Mate.
name wrong.
Well,
and
that's content, isn't it? You know, you can record all day and nothing happens, and then all of a sudden something happens in golf like that in a split second, and you either miss it or you get it. But I think it's obviously put Adelaide golf in Adelaide on the map and live in as well. And I think they've used it for the last 2 years in marketing, and then they got another one last year.
You know what I love
Well, this
about
year.
it is that there are so many stars there that doesn't like there's 30,000+ on the course, and it's still you still can get a vantage point to see some of the best players in the world play. Like
Yeah.
I'm so excited to have Rory coming out here.
Yeah.
Yes.
But mate, there's going to be 30,000 people following him.
Yeah.
And it's going to be so hard to see him. And what LIV have done in terms of taking golf to the world, I'm not a PGA hater. I'm not a like LIV lover in terms of like you know, I like them both. I want them to get back together, but I don't want to lose what we've got here now.
No, 100%.
You know,
we're the
and
same.
it's sort of similar to the Super League war back in the day when, you know, there was the Adelaide Rams. Well, they were a byproduct of the merge. So, okay, well, you got to piss them off.
Yep.
And you got to piss the Western Reds off, and we got to keep these teams, bring this team in, and we'll get back together. And I'm just hoping that that's sort of probably might be a part of the PGA LIV merge is that they have some key marquee events around the globe, and Adelaide keeps that event because far out, man, I've never been to an event like
Well,
it.
and like you
Yeah,
say,
no,
I mean,
100%.
prior to LIV in Australia, we might have had a Tiger Woods come out or a Jordan Spieth.
Yeah.
We never had 7, 8,
Yeah.
10 of the best 20 in the world.
You have these young guns like when Neiman won out here.
Yeah.
You know, he was like no one knew who he was then though. You know,
Yeah.
like and you get that. Varner came out. I mean, but before they were the rock stars. To get the rock stars out here, we got to pay for it. But LIV are just LIV are paying for us, which is awesome.
Yeah, so it looks like it's locked in for Adelaide. We're obviously Adelaide being our hometown, we're pumped with that. So we'll be definitely seeing you out.
I'm glad they're moving it though, because it's a pain in the ass getting in and out of the Grange.
You
at the
tell
end of the
us.
day.
We live on the other side of the city, and I nearly I won the ProAm last year. And I got so fucked up the night before, I don't remember waking up. Got halfway to so I woke up and I was just doing my thing. And Mrs. like, "You got the Pro-Am?" I'm like, "Fuck, it's an hour away." I live 50 minutes away. So got halfway there. All of a sudden, my missus rings me. She's like, "Have you got my keys?" I've got her keys. She couldn't take the kids to school. So I've turned around the Uber, completely haven't had a shower, still stinking like piss. Dropped the keys off, got all the way back, got to the course around like 8 minutes ago, got to my tee time in 3 minutes and won the Pro-Am. So just
mate.
didn't think about it.
I played in it this year. We didn't win.
No.
We didn't win. But what an event! It's just they've done a wonderful job down
So
there.
how did SEN get you on for the golf special comments?
Well, I just love golf, and they know it. Scott Sattler was meant to do it,
Okay.
but Sats wasn't much of a golfer then. He's a golf nut now. He loves it.
Yep.
But he couldn't do it. He was away, and mate, I was literally on the 8th. I remember the phone call because my content director was ringing me.
Yeah.
And I was playing. I don't like answering the phone when I'm playing. I thought I'll ring him after, and he goes, "You need to call me back. I know you're playing golf. You'll want this
Friday.
phone call." And so I took it, and he's like, "Mate, you want to go to LIV next week?" I'm like, "And what am I doing?" He goes, "Just calling it." He goes, "Walking behind him on the fairways, you know, like, mucky, you shit me." And and I think Sats might have got the job the year after if I hadn't called that hole in one. And my voice wasn't connected to it.
Yeah.
So blessed.
No,
Blessed.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So obviously, you've obviously got like state of origin crowds, rugby crowds, very vocal, very loud, everything like that. Golf has never really been like that, but now you're seeing it with LIV. That's getting introduced. You know, do you reckon that's a good thing for golf?
Yeah, well, it's changed.
Yeah.
You know, I know there is room for you know, what you see at the Masters.
Yep.
And there's room for what you see, you know, at these, you know, prestigious, you know, historic golf clubs that, you know, they want to run on history and tradition. And I love that. But you're going to alienate yourself to the rest of the world, the young up-and-coming golfers that love loud music and, you know, love having fun and not so concerned about, you know, what sort of shirt and shorts they're wearing. They just get, So I love that. There's two worlds there, and I reckon they can both operate pretty harmoniously.
Yeah, well, let's hope the PGA and the LIV can get together, just make it one unison, thing called golf.
It'll be better. It'll be better. Like we've all really benefited though, right? Like,
yeah,
of course.
We've all benefited out of this merge. And it's funny how they're just so passionate and so like, I hate this but I love that. And it's like.
And it's mainly on social media.
You must have a really small heart. I've got enough love in my heart for that.
Yeah, 100%.
You obviously got to experience firsthand the Super League wars in rugby. Yeah. It happened with cricket prior to that, with World Series of Cricket, and LIV's been really associated with those sort of breakaways. Do you reckon LIV, can you see the league having a position of staying as it is, like LIV Golf, or do you think if they merge, will it be like the Rams, they have to get rid of this and that and carve it out?
I think they'll definitely be getting rid of some. A lot of the guys that went to LIV went because they wanted to play less, and it was just sort of like, and they can still earn the living that they've been earning. So, as much as like people, they look at those lifestyles and they think, it'd be amazing. Like I did it for 5 years. I played rugby union professionally. And, I was away no less than 3 months of the year out of my home, and staying in hotels, living out of bags, getting on planes. And you're not holidaying.
Nah.
That's what people think, no. These guys are showing up, and it's from the minute they hit the ground, they're working. And that was what it was like playing rugby. In the World Cup year in 2003, I think we spent like 6 months out of our home in camps and, travelling, playing, all that sort of stuff. So it does grate on you. Yeah. So, and people criticise these guys that went over to LIV for that reason. Like, there's not too many. Like, there's a few young guys, but you look at the demographic of most of the guys that left. Yeah, they're all the older guys who have grinded
for years
on that tour.
Yeah,
giving them everything. So I don't begrudge them.
Yeah,
like they're going to just cool the jets a little bit on terms of the travel. They've got families and stuff, and they're making the same amount of money. Far out, who wouldn't do that? Good. Yep.
So what was harder? Was it living up to the Rogers name or taking hits from the 120 kilo front rowers?
Probably both on par. It's tough sort of following a bloke like my old man. He was a superstar, and he dominated the game for a period from about 75 to 81. And I certainly didn't get to those lofty heights in terms of my NRL career. Like I was a decent player, but he was a superstar. So it was tough. And as a kid, everywhere you'd go, you'd just hear people like behind you. That's Steve Rogers' son,
Yeah, okay.
And I sort of thrived on it a bit as a kid, but it as you get older and like you realise, what it takes to succeed. That's where I'm sort of, seeing what my dad did. I remember back in like the early 80s, like him having meetings with dietitians and doing stuff that was so ahead of its time, and sort of laid a good foundation for me, but trying to be as good as him. I had lofty goals, but I never quite reached that status in the game, but pretty happy with my career.
So he was definitely then well ahead of his time if he was
this was back in the days. They're working, training twice a week, going to the pub after training on a Thursday and playing on the weekend. And he was doing extra sessions. He had his own trainer. He was pretty locked in. He did love a good time. Don't get me wrong.
So it's got the mix.
Certainly didn't let that get in the way. But he was certainly a hard worker.
Yeah.
So would you say the blokes the sons of greats like obviously yourself, and there's like Gary Ablett in AFL and things like that. It's a lot harder to just keep up with the expectation of how good it's actually you've got to be to what everyone thinks it's going to be.
Well, I think what the thing is, it's like there's always going to be a comparison. Yeah. So you're always hearing these comparisons of you and your old man and that sort of stuff. But look, if that's the hardest thing I've got to deal with, like I was blessed to have lived around it and seen it like firsthand what it takes. So
you got to see
such a big advantage. Yeah. So it was fun. Like, being Steve Rogers' son back in the 80s in Cronulla, it was pretty cool.
What was the big moment then when you played NRL that like hit you? Was it the 120 kilo, or what was the moment where you're like, shit, I'm in the big leagues now?
Yeah, the 120 kilo guys, they're the like, I would rather run at them than the little guys, because the little guys are as fast as you and they can get you.
Yeah.
And like the big guys, when you run at them, they're not worried about, they don't want to put a big hit on you. They're just terrified of just getting a hand on you. So, they're not going to try to kill you. And they're generally the guys you can wrong foot and get around. So you wait for them to get tired, hands on their hips, and like, there's my guy. You go and run at him. But
was there any moments with it? Was it crowd or was it
probably I equaled my dad's record for most points in a game in a game, and he was on the sideline that night. He was the football manager of the club, and just the joy in that between us. We got a penalty on halfway after the full time hooter, and I reckon I could have kicked the goal, and my old man sent a message out that I wasn't allowed to kick it. He didn't want me to break his record. So, and then he decided to remind me that back in his day, tries were only worth 3 points. And that night I'd scored 4 tries. I scored 3 tries. And he scored 2. It was 26 points. So I scored 3 tries and kicked sort of 6 goals, 7 goals or something. And he said, mate, I scored 2 tries and kicked 10 goals. So really it should have been 28. So I'm still the champion. I said, aren't you just happy we're even on the top? He's like, yeah, I love it, son. It's good.
Yeah. So tell me how it came about that he played for Queensland, you played for other way around. He played for New South Wales, you played for Queensland.
Yeah, so mum and dad grew up on the Gold Coast here. My dad was born in Sydney, but he moved here as a young boy and finished school and met my mum up here. My mum was one of 13 kids born and bred here on the coast.
Yep.
So you can imagine now I've got about 4,000 cousins and 2,000 second cousins. It's crazy.
All getting
all on the Gold Coast. Half the population I'm related to. So they met up here, and when my dad he played in 1972 at the Southport Tigers here. Played. They won the grand final that year. He was 16. Sorry. And he was playing first grade. They won the comp. Funny story about that day. So they won the comp that year in 1972, and the winger in that game who played outside my dad, who was the centre, was Clive Palmer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Big Clive.
So he's a big supporter of local footy and supports a local footy club, Southport. But he was a flying winger.
Well, all the Rogers relations around here. I'm surprised he didn't get in Prime Minister. Got that kind of connection.
There's a lot of connections. What were we talking about?
We're talking about how your dad played for New South Wales and you played
so you were born in Caringbah.
I digress.
So you were born in Caringbah.
Yeah, so born in Caringbah, moved up. So I moved, when Dad retired, they moved back here when I was 9.
Yeah. Right.
So, started hanging out with my cousins, going to school, and at 12 I played for Queensland in rugby league, and at 15 and 17 I played for Queensland again. And then I moved to Sydney to play for Cronulla. And then I was going pretty well after a few years, and I was sort of in the origin frame, and I was sort of really unsure of what that meant for me because Dad played for New South Wales, so I sort of thought, well, I've got to play for New South Wales.
Yep.
Anyway, 2 weeks before selection, Wayne Bennett rings me, and he said, mate, we're picking the Queensland side in 2 weeks. Have you made a choice of who you're going to play for? And I sort of said, do I have a choice? He goes, yeah. He goes, well, obviously you can play for New South Wales. He said, but you've never played for New South Wales before. Why would you start now? We'd love to have you in the Queensland team. And if you tell me that you will, I'll pick you now.
Yep.
And I was like 18 years old, 19 years old. So I'm like, this is Wayne Bennett saying he's going to pick me. And he goes, don't give me an answer. Just call your dad and then call me back. So I called Dad, and Dad's like, well, mate, he said the same thing. He goes, mate, you've always played for Queensland. He goes, your mum will be wrapped. He goes, but don't ask me, ring her. So I rang Mum, and Mum just broke down in tears. She's like, oh, be so happy to support, my son playing from, where I was born. And it was a really emotional time. So I said yes. And then I rang Wayne back. I said, yep, I'm in. And he goes, all right, well, here's the deal. He goes, we don't pick the side for 2 weeks. He goes, you're in it now. He said, but if I hear your name mentioned and Queensland in the press between now and in 2 weeks' time, I'm not going to pick you. And I thought, shit, this is not good because the tongue's wag in rugby league. So I rang Dad straight away. I said, you cannot tell a soul. And I told him the story.
And you were playing for the Sharks at
the
time.
And
he was the
CEO.
CEO. So
told Mum the same thing, and then 2 weeks later we got by and they picked me for Queensland. And then, mate, I literally you've been to an Origin, you can see how passionate people are. Like I had teammates who wanted to fight me.
Yeah,
it was proper. Right. One of my best mates, to this day, that I see regularly. Lukey lives down in Sydney. He was one of my teammates for playing in the under-21s, and he wanted to fight me. It was proper,
and it wasn't just match day competitiveness. He actually wanted to take
they were pissed, you know. And I get it. I understand it because I know what it means to both states. But it just meant a little bit more for me to be a part of this from a family perspective.
Yeah, cool. Nice one. Got any nicknames that we haven't heard of, or any unusual nicknames you want to
I've
tell us
only got
about?
one.
Yeah.
It's Rat.
Yeah. What about in the under 10s? What was your nickname?
My nickname was Tank.
Can you tell us about that?
Tank, which is hilarious. But I was a little fat kid. And I didn't have a sidestep, so I'd just get the ball. And my brothers were older than me.
Yeah.
Or my brother was older than me and his mate. So I'd go out and play with them, and I'd just get the ball and I'd just run as hard as I could straight into them and just bowl them over, you know. And my mum said, "You look like a little Sherman Tank." And yeah, so I got the nickname Tank. And like I moved up here like just before my 10th birthday, and all those kids that I still see when I go back to the Shire and Cronulla, like all those guys, they just all call me Tank still. Like, because they don't know me. But like, you know, a nickname when it sticks, like all the guys that I play golf with and stuff, like no one calls me Matt. Everyone calls me Rat. You know, like it just, but I got that on the Gold Coast on an end of season tour. So, from the boys, which was, you know, as soon as I arced up about it, you know, like, it stuck. Yeah.
What was the origins of it? What
we were just out one night and, some chick said I looked like a little rat. Oh, mate, I was 18. Like, I probably did. I was like 18. I was 65 kilos. I looked like a chuppa chup. My head was that big. I was that skinny. Anyway, yeah. So it stuck and been rat ever since.
Beautiful. Obviously, New South Wales won game one last night.
Yep.
How do you think the celebrations would have been different to back in your day if you won a game one to what was going down last night?
Mate, yeah, well, we had a pretty wild bunch in the Queensland squad, and you know, you go into these camps like they're 11-day camp, and you wouldn't touch a footy for 4 days. Like you'd just be, you know,
running,
bonding for 3 days.
Yeah, bonding.
We'd have training sessions during the day, but it was just fitness. So and if you suffer, like that's when you find out who you can trust. I reckon. Like if you're looking next to and someone's suffering but they're still there, it's like, all right, I can trust you. When you're hurting and you're still going to be there,
good initiation.
So it's good. It's a good way to weed out soft people because you know gets hard. Oh, my hemi's sore. I'm hungover from last night. Yeah. So it was a really good bonding tool. But yeah, like when we got down to business, we were serious. There was no drinking and carrying on and all that sort of stuff. But the celebrations, certainly back in our day, they were pretty wild. But we still all had to play though, you know, a couple of days later. So you had to be a little bit sort of careful. But you're certainly going to celebrate a win like that. My New South Wales, they would have had a few beers, but they would have tucked it in pretty quick.
Yeah. What was the worst thing ever said to you in an Origin tunnel, and how did you respond?
Oh, mate, I can't even think of that. Like, I got horrific abuse when I would play down in New South Wales because my dad was a New South Wales legend. Like, he played in the first state of origin for New South Wales. So, yeah, they would say fairly derogatory remarks.
You weren't immune to the controversies of switching over because there was a very famous scenario when you jumped codes.
Yeah.
So did that receive a similar? I remember it being massive news at the time, and even in Adelaide, which is a Aussie rule state, it felt like it was the biggest. It was as big as Super League.
Just probably because of the history of my family too.
Yeah,
because you know, like Wendell had come over.
Your dad was in the press conference with you when it got announced.
Mate, my dad far out. He said, "I'll come and sit in the press conference with you," and mate, he just hated it. Like he was the CEO of the club that I was leaving. And he didn't re-sign me. And I'd leave the code, you know. If I'd left it to another rugby league club, it would have been a lot worse for him, but I wouldn't have done that. But it was the rugby league people were fairly receptive to it. Like a lot of them just switched over and watched, you know, Wendell and myself, and we switched over, and then Lottie came in, and a lot of them, you know, they watched both codes. But the rugby union fraternity is a bit different. Like it's a very different.
So they weren't as accepting.
Nah, it took a while.
Okay. Really?
It took a little bit of time, but they came around, and look, I had five of the best years of my life. You know, it was unreal.
Yeah. Yeah, you played obviously before you went to union. You played for the Kangaroos. Is there any particular matches that stood out even now? You know, sort of make the hairs stand up on your arms.
Yeah, probably World Cup opener in 2000. We played England at Twickenham, and I was a rugby union kid. So, like, I played rugby union as a teenager. So Twickenham is the home of England rugby.
Yep.
And league teams never play there. And I sort of thought I was never going to get the chance to play there. So to open the World Cup up, playing England at Twickenham, a full house, it was pretty special.
Did we get the result?
Yeah, we won.
We did.
We give them a hiding, actually. we played a game against New Zealand. It was an Anzac Test, I think, might have been 99, maybe 2000 actually. And I broke the record for most points in a Test match against New Zealand, and just had a night out. Just scored 3 tries, kicked a bag of goals, made heaps of meters, and it was just everything. One of those nights where everything just falls into place. Your teammates, they just they put the ball where you need it, and everything fell into place, and it worked well.
Yep.
Yeah, so there's a few scoring records. You obviously famously dropped 42 in the World Cup against Namibia. Tell us about that. Was that just a game that just all fell into place, or?
No, we were playing Namibia. It was on the Adelaide Oval.
Yeah.
How's that? Like the record for most points in an Australian Test matches on the Adelaide Oval.
That's
From
a rugby league
guy. With that oval.
From a rugby league guy playing rugby union. It's funny, that day. So I started the game, and I played on the wing that day because Chris Latham, I'd taken his spot as fullback in the bigger games.
Yep. And
they just gave him a run at fullback, and they put me on the wing. I only scored 2 tries that day, but just kicked that many goals. I think we won 142 to 5. I think they scored a try. I think they scored a try early in the game.
Yeah.
But at half time, Matt Burke comes on, and Matt Burke held the record. It was like 38 points.
Yeah.
And Matt Burke comes on at half time, and we score another try straight after we start, basically. And Burke runs over to get the ball. And I had no really idea of what the record was or anything, but I reckon he certainly did. So he's coming and grabbed the ball. And like, I'm going to kick from now. I'm like, yeah, sweet, no worries. I wasn't thinking of it. And then a message comes out. Burke, give the ball to Rat. He's kicking for the whole game. And so I ended up getting the record. But the world record is 46 points in a Test match. It was from a Kiwi fella. Yeah, I found all that out after. I'm like, far out. I probably would have hogged it a bit more.
Out of the your union teammates and your league teammates, who's going to win in a Ryder Cup style golf event?
Oh, the union boys.
The union boys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nah, there's some good golfs in there. Matt Burke, mate, he's a freak.
Yeah.
His golf swing is like his place kick. Just absolute poetry. Yep. George Gregan plays off about 2. There's a heap of guys that were good golfers.
Is there any truth to the story that George Gregan's cock will hit the bottom of a pint glass?
Oh, yeah. No. I've seen it. I was holding his ankle. One of the great human beings on this planet, George Gregan. Just, mate, in my career, I played under some great leaders, but I just don't think any of them top George Gregan. Just such a composed, just frightening individual when he's in the zone, and just like he'd just look at you and you knew like what you needed to do, and just phenomenal guy, great friend, still to this day. I just literally had a conversation with him last week. Just a good fella.
Yeah. Who was the most talented across the codes that you played with, and what made him so elite?
Oh, Matt Burke.
Burke?
Yeah, he was just, unbelievable. In terms of like his skill level at everything he did. And he's a big man. Like,
was he?
Physical. Yep. Like he could keep up with the fast guys that could get away from the big, strong, slow guys. And he could make a fool of the big, strong guys that could match his strength. So he could dominate any part of the field. But he's just composure, like on a football field.
Yep.
Just, the way he spoke. Like I was coming into my senior years of footy when I started to play with him. He was a year older than me. But just the way he held court and what he did on a field is as good as I've seen.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, awesome. Oh, well, I reckon that's probably wrap it up on that conversation. Thank you very much for coming on the Teabaggers podcast. Appreciate it, mate. I think we've done well.
Thanks, boys. A lot of fun. Well, Let's have a good day tomorrow at Chatsy's Golf Day.
That's it. We've got a golf day tomorrow at Royal Pines, and probably Team Golf Gods will take the win.
Nice.
Beautiful. Thanks, mate.